Ah, so you're back for the next part of the series. I see you're hungry for knowledge. When I was in high school, I was just mainly hungry. So you're 5 steps ahead of me. What's up guys, it's your mum's favourite rapper coming at you again with another land art video. In this video we're going to go over some examples of some land art and how they were constructed to tell us a certain story or a message. Just quickly, let's go back over what land art is. Land art, or sometimes called earth art, is art that is made directly in the landscape. Sculpting the land itself into earthwork or making structures in the landscape using natural materials such as rocks or twigs. Now this doesn't seem too complicated at all. Throw a rock there, maybe some dirt over there, maybe sprinkle a couple leaves around. Presto, you're Picasso. Not exactly. Actually, quite a lot more thought and effort goes into this art form. From having prior knowledge to what plants you are using that might signify a certain feeling or idea, to having intricate patterns that are designed to move your eyes in a certain way to tell a certain story, to the different colors used and the techniques, and you get the gist. Anyway, instead of me just telling you about land art, I've gotten together with Elaine Clockety, a local land artist, to ask some questions about her process when it comes to land art, and specifically how she went about making her art piece for the Armadale Arts Bush Trail. So, first question Elaine, how did this art piece come about?
So I was really inspired by a local Aboriginal elder, Vivian Hanson. She's come out with a really great book and it's all about the Noongar bush medicine. And when I was coming up to run workshops but also to get to know this country here, I was actually quite sick at the time. And one of the times I was out in the bush over the back there and I could recognise one of the medicines and just really felt a sense of healing by being here in the bush. And I thought, this is going to be the foundation of the work. But while I was out here, a really significant part of what's happening here in Settlers Common and in southwest Western Australia is dieback. And you know, the bush, some of the parts of the bush is getting sick, and the idea if we can come in behind it, we can heal it.
Wow, that's really cool that your personal message sort of intertwined with that of the dieback and how we can use the natural land to heal. Now getting into the details, what's your process like when you tackle a project like this?
So I always start with just sitting quietly in a place. That's what's really important, and that's why that whole first thing about realising about how healing the bush is, but then ended up going, wow, the bush itself needs healing. And then it's very much about finding a location and where I get drawn to. And then it's about collecting materials. And this bushland is filled with lots of gorgeous materials. Then when I come out, it's very much about walking around, I use rope. I always lay stuff out just to get an idea of the shape, how it sits on the ground, and then basically start making and laying down all the materials.
That sounds so serene, so delicate. Like if I could access that kind of peace, I'd start to fly away. Oh. Oops, I better come back down. Were there any specific techniques or materials that you used to create this piece?
Yeah, so in the centre is the puffball. That's really important. It's actually in Vivian's book. She's called it the poo fungus, dog poo fungus. It's that amazing mustardy coloured, and it's such a strong and vibrant little fungus. And obviously it's a fungus that's representing that connection underneath the forest. And so that's in the middle. Then what's really happening, I don't know why, but there's a lot of the parrot bush has started to establish itself, and it's called a pioneer plant. So I thought it was really important to use that. So that's all the beautiful, soft, fluffy inside. That's the parrot bush. Going either side of that is the grass tree and the charcoal. Around the outside, it's all the stick bundling. So that's something we're trying to invite people. We've been out to school groups, and people who come past and visit the trail have an opportunity to get some sticks, bundle it up together, add in a leaf from the trees, and then the little grass tree frond, put it in there, bind it up. It's just that way of just putting some kind of, we want to heal the bush, we want to heal ourselves, we're all connected. And it's just an opportunity for us to make a collective work.
Last question, Elaine. Why do you do land art? And why should others try it?
I actually went to a sculpture park over in Scotland. The guy Ian Hamilton Finlay, he had art in nature. I'd started to do that a little bit, but when I saw his, I understood how important it was. And now I really understand, like all our ancestors from everywhere across the world have used natural materials and made symbols or made collective actions that gives back or makes comment on how we live on this planet. Anyone who comes, their eyes open up, and you do definitely get a greater sense of connection. And I think we all know we're living in a time that we absolutely need to connect more with nature, and how better than to reach into our ancestry and let's, make collective things together that say we live on a living planet. We're thankful for what we get and we want to give back.
Thank you so much, Elaine, for sharing your process on how you go about making the stories and the art that you do. Now let's do a super quick recap for the kid that fell asleep in the back. Yes, you. I'm looking again. Yes, you. 1. Elaine started with the story, the message, the idea. In this case, it was one of healing. 2. Source a location and understand how it can relate to your idea and how you can convey your idea or your message through the natural environment. Now on Elaine's project, the dieback present in the bush, directly related to how Elaine was feeling unwell. 3. Plan out what you want your art piece to look like. Maybe with some ropes, maybe draw a diagram using the different colors and shapes that you want to use in your piece. 4. Find all the natural materials you want to use that are readily available. Don't kill live plants for your art piece. I get it. Art is suffering, and suffering is art. But you don't need to make the planet suffer for your art. And maybe try and relate the materials to your message, like Elaine did with the dog poo fungus. 5. Now that you've collected all your materials, start placing them in the best way that you think encapsulates your vision, your image, your story, your art. Then make sure that you take a picture before Mother Nature decides she really likes the piece and she wants to make it her own. Now this process is not a set of rules. You can chop and change and create a process that works best for you and for your vision. Sometimes the message or idea comes first. Sometimes it starts with an amazing tree or a bird that comes to visit. And now that we have a process on how to make some land art, that's it for episode 2. Join me on episode 3 where we can talk about why we should make some land art. But for now, bye!
Tobias.